Sustainability is the process of protecting and maintaining the needs of the present without compromising the needs of future generations. The world's human population continues to grow. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the population has increased from just under 2 billion to 2.7 billion in 1955. It takes 12 years to grow by 1 billion. In spring 2017, the world population was 7.5 billion. Our planet has to provide resources to meet our basic human needs, such as food, shelter, and warmth. Humans have learnt to manipulate many of the Earth's resources to provide essential and non-essential resources. It is the responsibility of designers to create products that are sustainable and meet the needs of this growing world population. Responsible design is about using resources and materials which are sustainable. Resources are categorized into two groups. These are finite and non-finite resources. Finite resources. Finite resources are limited in supply. They are being used quicker than can be replaced. The use of finite resources should be limited or avoided because they are responsible for pollution and a negative impact on the environment. They should only be used where an alternative can't be found. Examples are fossil fuels, minerals, and metal ores. Non-finite resources. Non-finite resources are limitless in supply and will probably not run out. They can be grown or replaced at the rate that they are being used. Examples include wind, solar, which comes from the sun, some timbers, and cotton. Finite and non-finite resources are also known as non-renewable and renewable energy resources. Finite resources are also known as non-renewable resources. Oil, coal, gas, metal ores, and nuclear energy are all examples of non-renewable resources. Non-renewable energy can't be replaced quickly. Non-finite resources are also known as renewable. Water, solar, vegetation such as trees, wind, and heat energy from the Earth's crust is known as renewable resources. They replace themselves faster than they are consumed. The outcome of a large population increase are that non-renewable resources are being consumed at a very fast rate, and the negative impact on the environment as fossil fuels are consumed. Greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, are being released into the atmosphere, leading to pollution of air and water, and an increase in the temperature leading to global warming. Many scientists think that the rise in the average temperature of Earth's atmosphere and oceans is driven mainly by human activity. 15 of the last 16 warmest years on record have been recorded since 2000. Designers have a better understanding of which materials are sustainable and which are not. As mentioned earlier, sustainable materials fall into the category of renewable energy and resources. Designers must consider the impact the use of these resources, and in particular the use of non-renewable materials. They must consider the carbon footprint and CO2 emissions of their designs, the recyclability of their products at the end of life, reducing the materials and components of their designs. Design products that are repairable and maintainable. They must think about the planned obsolescence of products. Designers must consider the energy efficiency of a product. They have to take into account the use of transportation for moving raw materials, the product itself, and the disposal of the product. These factors must be part of the design, and the life cycle of a product must be considered by designers. Conducting a life cycle assessment, or LCA, is a way for designers and companies to assess the amount of carbon that is created during the different stages of a product's life. Stage 1 involves the extraction and processing of raw materials from the earth. Raw materials are refined and used to make products. This second stage involves the release of large amounts of energy. Carbon is generated during the distribution stage, where the product is packaged and transported to the end user. At stage 4, energy is released during consumption of the product. The release of energy and carbon during the working life or useful life of the product is assessed. The fifth stage is the end of life. The energy that is used to recycle or dispose of the product is assessed. Once again, the carbon released is calculated to understand the carbon footprint created during the life cycle of a product. Waste disposal. At the end of a product's life, disposal becomes a key concern. Landfill is the most common method of organized disposal. A hole is dug in the ground, and waste is deposited. Landfill causes many problems. Waste can leak into groundwater or soil, causing pollution in the local environment. Organic waste can release methane as it decomposes. This is a greenhouse gas. Landfill sites can create problems such as smell, noise pollution, and a negative impact on local wildlife. Incineration, or the burning of refuse, can reduce the mass and volume of waste by 80% or more. Incinerating waste material releases pollutants, and large amounts of carbon dioxide is emitted into the atmosphere. Recycling is a method that requires all living in a society to take responsibility. Companies are required to recycle their products. The car industry is an example of where products are required to be recycled by the manufacturer.